Yes, life was delayed, but it never gave denied. Hello, everybody. It's Annika LaQuette here, and you're finally listening to season 2. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. I would like to give a shout out to Phil. He was the first person to comment on last week's episode. So if you want a shout out, be the first to comment on this week's episode. This is my home skilly biscuit. This is my girl. I love her. She is such a beautiful inspiration to me. Let her introduce herself.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
girl.
Hey.
How are you?
It's a good day.
Yes, it is. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Yvonne Lee, and I'm originally from New York, so a Queens girl all day, specifically Southside
Okay.
Queens, Jamaica, just shouting that out there.
Okay.
And my husband and I moved back down here in 2012, moved down here from New York. He's born up there, but his family is from here, so we knew we liked South Carolina. We're both ex-military people, and I love the South. I literally came out of a blizzard when I came to the military. I came down here for my basic training, left swirling snow, blizzard. I wake up the next morning and there's sunshine and it was 70 degrees. And I decided right then, this was in February, I'm moving to the South one day. So that was my decision. And I am a mother of 2, a grandmother of 1, vivacious young precious angel, despite what her mother and father say. She is my angel. And am loving life. I am 52 now, and with all my lessons and experiences, I'm loving the freedom that comes with that knowledge and that wisdom. So, yeah, that's me. I can be fun, but I have boundaries, and I don't play.
Yes.
So, I love to help people. Being of service, I believe, is what I'm called for.
What motivates you to start counseling and shifting perspectives group?
Well, I've known that I wanted to counsel since I was much younger. I would say when I was in my 30s. And particularly because people would so often come to speak to me, Yvonne, can I talk to you about this? Or can I get some advice on that? Just knowing that they were going to get an honest answer from me. And before I was saved, that answer could take several ways that you might get it from me, but they knew they would always get an honest answer. So I just knew I wanted to be of help to people. And it was during my internship that I realized I want to do this myself. I don't want to be under somebody else's rule of how to provide services or how to assist. I want to help, but I want to help in the way people need to be helped. So I was like, I think I can do this. I had not thought of owning my own business before. I just wanted to be a counselor, a therapist. But then I said, no, I can do this. If somebody else can, I can. And there began my journey.
Yes, I love it. Okay. Because a lot of people, some people may get scared. They say, oh my goodness, I just want to do one thing. But when God is calling you to do something else, here it is. Yes. Okay. For
even
real. So I completely understand.
Because let me tell you, nobody in my family has owned a business before. So this is my first sojourn into this. I don't have somebody I can turn to and say, hey, my aunt, my grandfather, whatever did this. Yeah. This is me. So there's a lot of learning curves. I'm blessed to have people around me who know a lot, but it's not the same as doing it. So it was a little scary, but I trust my daddy. And he doesn't bring you to without bringing you through. And I walk on that even when I'm afraid, when you don't get clients as soon as you want, when people don't come. I'm trusting. So what's mine is already there for me. It's just when it comes.
Yep, you're definitely right about that. Okay, I completely understand. So you create a quote that says, giraffes don't concern themselves with turtle issues, birds don't concern themselves with giraffe issues, and eagles don't concern themselves with bird issues. The stronger you become, the more say you have in what is your issue. How does that quote resonate with you?
That quote came from me because of the many stages of my life. I was a teenage mother, right? I was all of the statistics. I was a teenage mother, a high school dropout, a teenage runaway because I was fresh and fast. Couldn't tell me anything.
It's all right.
And yet this woman here came from all of that. And when you feel like you don't have any choices, you're kind of like the turtle. Life is huge to a turtle. Everything is an obstacle. A tree branch comes down, that's an obstacle. Well, a giraffe, even as a baby, it doesn't have the same concerns as that little turtle because of those long legs and because of the way it views the world. That turtle is stumped by that tree branch that fell. It feels like it has to go all around the world just to get past it. That giraffe stepped right on and it kept pushing. It wasn't an issue. Well, but giraffes need the trees to be in bloom to be able to feed. Well, birds can go right up there where
Right.
the food is. They're not concerned. However, birds can only
Mm-hmm.
fly so high because the wings are only so strong. Eagles don't have that concern. And I remember it's about 20 years ago, the first time I had that discussion with one of my nieces as she was going through. I said, baby, your friend is a turtle. Giraffes don't concern themselves with turtle issues. And then I explained it and she was like, I get it, Auntie. So are you a bird? I said, I was. And this is about more recent, with a different niece. And she said, I guess you're the bird. I said, I was. I said, but honey, I feel my feathers stretching. I said, I think your auntie's
Mm.
going to eagle level. I feel that because of
Come on.
my confidence, because of the strength of my faith, because I've overcome. It's only scary when you're going through things. The more you overcome, the more you realize you can overcome. Well, I've overcome too much. I've had tears. I've been afraid. There's nothing to shake me anymore. You know, scripture runs different when it's greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. When you've been
Hey,
afraid and
come on
standing
now.
on that and watch how he
Yeah.
works, then man has what fear for me? I'm not concerned with you. You
Mm.
can only damage this body once. I know to whom I belong. So the stronger you get, the
Yes.
more confident when your faith walks before you, when you understand before you go in a situation that my father's already handled it. He's already been there. He's already opened hearts for me. He's already gotten this person
Mm-hmm.
prepared to receive my words or my heart for them. When you understand how strong you are as a person, then the issues that used to bother you no longer concern you. So the stronger you get,
Right.
the more right you have, the more say you have in what an issue is. When you're
Yep.
younger or you don't feel like you have a lot of control, you say, well, this person or these people made me feel this way. I'm trying, but they. At my position, there is no I'm trying,
Mm-hmm.
but they. It's I'm doing. And it's going to happen. There can be
Yes.
nobody that blocks me. So you have more say. And I want to empower people that way, specifically women, because I'm all about
Mm-hmm.
woman power all the time.
Me
But
too.
even for my
Okay. Period.
brothers, okay, constantly. But even for young men, I walk in a strength I wish I'd had long ago. But you have to grow into your
Mm-hmm.
journey. And I understand that. But I want to help people grow. I don't want anybody to have to be 40 before they get the strength that I attained. I love to help you in your 20s, walk with a little more confidence. By your 30s, I want you to understand, at least to trust you, because it's okay that you made a mistake or failed. You know, I want to help
Yep.
people find the joy in their strengths and choose their own issues. Yeah. I can go on and on. I
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
I don't want to take up the whole podcast,
Because
but yeah,
you
exactly, exactly,
no, you're telling the truth because that's exactly what people experience. It's different levels to like everything that you do. Everything.
exactly.
It's all
Yes,
about growing pains. It's a lot of ups and downs,
yes,
rejections, and then you realize like, dang, oh my goodness, why was I rejected for this? Why is it not working out? But then God reveals that it was a reason why this did not work for you at this time because you wasn't ready
because you
or
weren't ready.
somebody else wasn't ready.
Right.
See,
Sometimes it's
that's how
like
life is
that.
sometimes.
Exactly. And it's okay that you don't know. I've spoken to many young people like and I don't really know what I'm doing or I don't know where to go. And I know I should by now. I was like, first of all, pause on that. Why should you by now? Why should you? Why do
Right,
you think you should have all the answers by now? There's no age where a
right.
switch flicks in your mind and you should know. No, you
Okay,
shouldn't know. If you don't know, then you shouldn't know. You'll know when you know.
right.
And if you think you should know, then seek wisdom. Nobody is born
Mm,
with the knowledge they gain. So if you don't know, just find out.
yes,
It's sad to me to see how so many people will hinder or hold themselves back because they feel I'm not where or who I should be. You are just who you're supposed to be right now. But if you're ready to move
yep,
forward, let's do that together. Let's do that. Let's find where you want to
exactly.
go and then let's get there because I love the woman I am at 50s, but I'm looking forward to that chick at 60. She is bad.
Come
I
on now.
haven't met her yet,
Yes.
but I'm looking forward to her. That chick
Mm-hmm.
doesn't walk through airports anymore. That chick has an airplane on the runway. I don't own it,
You
but I'm possibly
come
renting one.
on.
You understand what I'm saying? That chick sits in a
Come
club
on.
and gets picked up to go to the airplane. That chick decides a vacation last minute and she's there the next day. That's who that chick is. I'm trying to get to where she is. But you have to see it first.
Right.
You have to know. And then I'm not her
Mm-hmm.
now. I don't have the network or the ability yet, but she's coming because she's down there. She's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to get there.
Yep. Come on now. What would you consider to be a leading cause of mental health issues today?
Amongst adults or like
Yes,
children?
amongst adults or adolescents. Either one. You can go for like a perspective of children first and then go into adulthood. Either one you like.
Well, I think for children, many of us for a long time kind of felt like the later generations have attitudes of entitlement, right? You probably have heard that often by more senior
Mm-hmm.
people. This generation, these later generations, they feel like they're so entitled. But I think we've
Right.
been thinking of the word wrong. I think we thought entitled as in you owe me. Somebody should give me something, but I think it's more entitled,
Mm-hmm.
like, this is my life and I should have a say. And just kind of understanding that, like, when I was growing up and my mother was growing up, you didn't ask questions about grown-ups. They made
Right.
decisions for you as a child and you did it. You did
Mm-hmm.
not ask, why are you and daddy divorcing? Why do we have to move? How come I can't
Mm-hmm.
attend this school? You didn't ask those questions. Your life just happened to you. And
Right.
you had no say, and that's not fair. And that was me as a child, and you just understood it. It was what it was. Because I said so was the answer, and that was a fact. But I know
Mm-hmm.
how I felt. I couldn't ask, but I wanted to. I wanted answers. And I feel like later generations, each generation provides a little more strength, a little more ability
Yeah.
for the next generation. And I feel blessed to be at a time where you watch you, young lady like yourself, and what you're doing, and others of your
Mm-hmm.
generation. Y'all are not accepting of because we said so. Y'all are questioning. You are pushing back. You
Mm-hmm.
are asking, no, you have to give me more than that because y'all haven't left this world in the best state. Y'all haven't made the best decisions. So no, I'm going to need a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more than that. So you've gotten the power that came through every one of our struggles. Y'all are empowered to demand you be seen and
Yeah.
heard and validated. And I think that's powerful, but it's
Mm-hmm.
caused a bit of pull and tug as other generations have not been easy. So there's a lot of unnecessary anger because of a lack of communication. There's a lot of
Yes.
unnecessary breaches in relationship, again, because of lack of communication or a willingness to understand the other's perspective. For the much
Mm-hmm.
younger generations, they were brought into too much knowledge too soon. Kids
Mm.
they have too much access to too much everything, and you
Yeah.
can't process it. You don't understand, and you get used to instant gratification. In our
Mm-hmm.
youth, you had to wait to get something. The seasons
Yeah.
came out in the TV shows, but you had to wait, and TV cut off at a certain time. You had to wait.
Mm-hmm.
We got used to that, and that builds character. It builds patience. It builds, the understanding of you are not king or queen here. You must
Right.
pause. You have to wait on somebody else. And each later generation, like my granddaughter, who will be 11 this year, there's an instantaneous gratification for them in everything. If I want this, I have access to it. If I want to know this, I can Google it. And there's no patience. So when
Mm-hmm.
they're told you have to wait, you cannot have it. You see so much anger, and kids are mad enough to want to harm each other or harm their parents
Right.
for nothing more than being told, not now or not at this
Mm-hmm.
time. And I feel like that's part of a lot of the reason we're looking at the different diagnoses and symptoms that go with it. But much of it is just you're not used to. We have to somehow bring that
Yes.
back and just allow time for wait, for that pause, have that
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Everything will not be given to you. That's not real life.
Yep.
You are going to
Okay.
have to wait and normalize that. So there's quite a few things going in. I won't get into the nutrition and the food. There's so many situations for young, but for
Mm-hmm.
adults, I think a lot of the cause of some of the mental illness and issues people are having, older people, is because life is changing so very fast, and the
Yes.
ability to shift with the changes to still feel necessary, to still feel like we have an impact, is causing anxiety. It's causing stress. It's causing struggles with adaptability, and that brings on panic attacks. It brings on depression, and
Yep.
there's a lot of issues, and it really can be well managed by just coming in and sitting down. Let's talk about what it is you're dealing with. I've discovered in the short time I've been counseling that a lot of times if you just provide people another perspective, another reason for why this is happening, I've gotten many, that makes sense. Now
It makes
okay,
sense.
I see. It was just a matter of shifting perspective. That's kind of how that got
Yep.
into my name, because much of the change and growth seen in counseling is not because, we're doing something magical in counseling or something. It's just listening and saying objectively, because I'm on the outside of everything you're experiencing. Well, did you consider the reason this person felt this way or acted this way was because so on and so forth. And they're like,
Yep.
no, I didn't consider that. Okay, well, now if you do, how do you feel about what they did? From that perspective, how do you feel about that now? How would you handle it? Oh, well, if I'd have known that, if I'd have understood that, even if it's their own actions, it never occurred to me that what happened back then would make me feel this way now. But now that I think
Yes.
about it, maybe that's why. And with clarity and understanding, so maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm not just a mean and angry person. Maybe
Yep.
I was dealing with something I never processed through, a trauma I never healed from. I never forgave myself. You'd be surprised how often that has been an issue. Have you forgiven her? Because
Come on.
that younger you never forgave her for the choice she made, but she was scared and she didn't know, or she didn't have the strength to handle. So you're mad at her for something she couldn't do at
Yep.
the time. Have you forgiven her? And young men, many times people don't forgive themselves. When you go through
Nope.
something traumatic, you become angry with yourself. You blame yourself. We always take it, no matter who did what. You
Yes.
eventually get to a place of, what was my role in it? What else could I have done? How did I handle it? You cannot know what you know before you know it. And you will
Yep.
never get through trauma the same as when you entered it, right? Nobody's the same. You
Yes.
make it through, you will never be the same person.
Never
You're a
be the same.
stronger you're a different you are a wiser you. So how could you have known to do this until you got through that? So
Yes.
forgive yourself. In fact, even appreciate the fact that I made it through, and now that will never happen to me again. I'll never be that
Come
again.
on.
Yeah,
Yes.
love that. And we're not forgiving ourselves for what we go through. You wouldn't be who you are without that. Forgive
Yep.
and then move
Yep. You're
forward.
right.
So there's a few things, but I want to help with all of it if possible.
Yes. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people didn't know that. And people need to know that to forgive themselves. So you
Right.
saying that allow people to just understand, dang, you probably right. I need to do this.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you said what you said, because people need to hear this message. I'm for real. So
glad.
y'all hear it. Y'all need to hear this message today. You offer several services within counseling and shifting perspectives group. One that resonated with me is community resources program. Could you explain a little bit more about that service?
Absolutely. Community Resources Program is run more from myself. But, it is run more by a young woman named Cayenne Tyson, or Cayenne Jones Tyson. And the reason is, there's services and resources in the community, but if you don't know how to find them, then it's just like they're not there. And people need help. They want to apply for different services. Again, they may know of them, but they don't know where to turn. They many times don't even know what resources are available in their own community. They don't know what organizations are providing these resources. They don't know funding that is available to help them in these situations. There are too many
Right.
people who are struggling. And this causes anxiety. This causes panic. This can cause depression. When you are stuck in a whirlwind, a hurricane, and you don't see sunlight, that is a scary, horrible place to be. And I don't
Yes.
see my out anywhere. Wind's just whisking around you, but there is an out. There's a resource right near you, or there's an online something that you can go to and sign up, and you're not even
Mm-hmm.
aware. Everything about counseling cannot be that you come in and sit down and talk with me. I don't think that's realistic. Um,
Right.
I remember speaking back in New York at a church, and I went to, and I said, it's fine that we're giving God's word, but if you're hungry, or if your children are crying because they're hungry, and you're looking at their feet and they don't have right shoes on, or you don't know where you're going to be able to pay your rent, you don't want to hear about the goodness of the Lord. That's just not the right
Mm.
time. I love my daddy. I believe in
Mm-hmm.
him. Everything I am begins with who he is in me and who I am through him. Absolutely. I am firmly attached to that vine. But realistically, I am not going to talk to you about the goodness of the Lord when you don't have a roof over your head, shoes on your feet,
Mm.
and your child is hungry. You can't hear that at that time. There's
Yeah.
no goodness there. So sometimes the cause of the issues you're experiencing mentally or emotionally are because your resources are not being met. And when your needs outweigh the resources you have, that's the whirlwind. So
Yes.
sometimes you don't need my services, but you might need help. I'm looking for support in paying bills. I'm looking for a way to get back to school. I'm looking for a school that offers me a daycare. I don't know what it is, but you need help in finding it. And Mrs. Tyson is amazing. She is great at, I don't know what that chick does. I don't know if she's just Googling or what she's doing, but she taps into the community in a crazy way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just saying, I'll Google for you. She's like, I'll walk you through this. It's
Mm.
just the fact that there are
Yeah.
many people in our society whose reading level is not where it should be, and they
Mm-hmm.
feel uncomfortable because filling out this application is hard for me, or going online is difficult for me. Well, you don't have to be embarrassed, nor do you have to go without the resources you need. She is willing to walk you through. She's willing to
Yes.
work with you and say, if this takes a couple of weeks, we can do a couple of weeks, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
what I love most is that her price is not exorbitant. She asked for $25 off the top, and that is based on what you need. And if you need more extensive time, then that's a conversation to have, because perhaps, there's the application, but then you got to wait and you have to go to an interview. She's there for
Mm.
all of that. So it's to
That's
help
good.
people connect, to find the resources, or even if they are resources, sometimes they are,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there aren't, but there are other ways of managing things. And she's there for that. It's just that recognition that everything doesn't require a conversation. It just requires help.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That is completely true. I like that service. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people need resources out here. That's
Period.
really good.
All day
For
long.
real.
Yes, ma'am.
What is something that you wish you would have learned sooner as a business owner that you know now?
Oh my goodness. Oh, there is always something there, isn't it? I wish
Yes.
my goodness, I wish I would have known that I didn't need to set everything up before I was ready to really step into the business. I
Mm.
set this business up with the Secretary of State May of last year, not
Wow.
realizing that it takes a while to take your license test and to get the results from that test, to get your official license from South Carolina labor licensing regulations.
Wow.
That took several months. I did not know
Ooh.
I'd have to wait to get a supervisor, because after you pass your master's, after you pass that licensing test, which I did on the
Mm.
first try, just
Come
putting that
on.
out there,
Come on,
because many
first
people
try.
have to redo and there's no shame. But a sister did it one
Mm-hmm.
and done, so I'm very proud of that.
That's
Um,
good.
but after that, you need a supervisor. South Carolina and many states require you have 2 years of additional practice under super
Mm.
before
Okay.
before you can counsel, before you are fully licensed. Which I love that, because people are entrusting you with their truths, with their
Mm-hmm.
lives, with their hearts, with their minds. Everybody shouldn't have the right to do that. You should be
Yeah.
overseeing. You should be making sure that you are fulfilling your service ethically, that people are not only getting
Mm-hmm.
the service they provide, but they're getting the protection from you speaking about their business. They're getting protection from you
Yeah.
talking or judging them. They get protection from worrying about how anybody else might be managing things. People should know that when they get somebody who is licensed, they're getting the protection, the covering of not just that person, but their supervisors. So going through all that, I didn't understand all of that would be necessary. So I've
Yep.
got my
Didn't know that
business
either.
EIN, I've got the Secretary of State recognizing, and then I had to wait just time. It was my
Oh
license
Lord.
number until December.
Oh.
But in the meantime, mind you, I'm getting a business phone number and I'm getting a website. It just, you pay for these things. So money's
Mm-hmm.
coming out from my day job, and I'm not even ready
Yeah.
to take clients in. So I would instruct any person, go through all the things first you have to do before you start paying out and doing in steps. And I do wish I'd understood the order of steps prior to, which is just funny because, our Father's word tells us that you should sit down. Who doesn't sit down and count the cost before they begin
Mm.
doing anything? And I should have definitely remembered my daddy's instructions. And that's why I follow the word, because when you do, I could have
Okay.
avoided that. But as I said before, sometimes I'm a little for me. So, but it's okay. Still here.
Okay.
All right.
Because see, I didn't know that.
Exactly.
I did not know that's a lot of steps that goes into that, but it's all
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
It's okay. But you here. That's all that matters.
Exactly. Just as you are, my dear. Yes, we are here.
Yes.
Running
Yes,
stuff.
ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So, what advice would you give someone who has issues with asking for help, but they're scared to book your services?
Issues asking for help, but they are scared
Yes, to
for my
book your
services.
services.
Well,
Yes.
then I would say it's a matter of choice. There's a saying, my baby sister has said more than once, you're going to struggle either way, choose your struggle. She said, you struggle being fat and you struggle being on a diet. What do you want to
Yes.
struggle? So it's a matter of choice, right? So you're struggling either way. You're struggling with what you're dealing with, and you're going to struggle to reach out to me. But reaching out to me will help you with the struggle. So either way you're struggling, which struggle do you want to have? I struggle with exercising, but I struggle more when my back hurts, right? And my knees
Right.
are creaking and stuff. So I'm going to struggle to exercise. So it's a matter of picking. I keep that quote with me all the time because we can always struggle with something. We're always going to. And the minute you these stairs, okay, you struggle to breathe, then you struggle to take the stairs. But the longer you take the stairs, the more your lungs are being strengthened. Eventually, it's going to be easier to breathe. So do you want to keep on struggling to breathe, or do you want to struggle with these stairs for a little while? And then you'll no longer have to struggle to breathe anymore. And you won't even struggle with the stairs anymore. So pick your struggles wisely. You might struggle to reach out for help. It could be hard, but you're struggling more with this. If you struggle to reach out for help, then your other struggle will eventually end. Pick your struggles wisely.
Come on now. That can be the quote for the day. Pick your struggles wisely. Come on.
Tune in to next week's episode as we talk to Jamal, owner of American Kid Association.
Struggle of that.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. So how do you handle failures and setbacks?
A failure is a beautiful thing. Failures and setbacks are beautiful things. They can be frustrating things. But there is more wisdom in the failing than in the succession. There genuinely is. And I'm half a century of living in this world. There are more lessons. There is more strength. There is more overcoming. There is more increase in your faith. There are pluses to failures and setbacks because I won't do that again. Because now I know a different way. Because now I have to invent or discover or create another way. They say necessity is the mother of invention. If what you do comes too easily, you never learn the value of having to work through it. If you do it the first time and it happens, all the lessons that should have been were missed. It's important.
Yes.
The struggle is necessary. There is value in the success, the hardship. All of that is building character. All of that is about shaping you for what next has to come. I heard this really beautiful story briefly. There was this monk, and he found this little cocoon, and the butterfly was trying to come out of it. And it was struggling so the monk picks it up, and he just wants to help, right? He starts kind of gently, very gently opening up the cocoon to help the butterfly. But now when he got the cocoon out of the way, the butterfly was in his hand. So he kind of, lifted it to bounce it. And the
Yeah.
butterfly couldn't fly. It kind of flopped and it was on the ground. And the monk was just like, oh my gosh, what happened? And he brings it to his teacher. And the teacher tells him the struggle would have strengthened his wings to prepare him to
Mm.
fly. Because you intervened,
Come on now. That's a
because
word.
you
Come
didn't
on.
allow the struggle, his wings were too weak for what he needed
Mm.
to do next. I consider that when you think about parents who may want to take away, consequences from their kids. They
Right.
want to prevent them from facing it, or they want to, it's okay, it's all right. No, it's not. Because
No,
there's
it's not.
nothing wrong in the fact that what you did is wrong. There's a lesson learned. They're going to become a grown up. If you don't teach them now
Yes.
the right and wrong and to accept consequences, then now they're grown and they're still fighting. I shouldn't have to face consequences. I shouldn't have to deal with that. We are supposed to be preparing people for what is to come.
Yep.
Success comes through the struggle. Anything too easily handled, you've missed all the lessons that come with it. I can drive you to your destination, but if along the way, had you been walking, you would have discovered all the extra paths that showed you another way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You would have discovered that
Yep.
there was like a rolling brook that you could have sat by and listened to. You would have discovered there was a beautiful spot where you could kind of sit and
Mm-hmm.
read. So I got you where you wanted to be, but you missed everything that you would need along the way. So now I left you there. And you don't
Yep.
know what's right around you. You don't know the brook. You don't know the sitting place. You don't know the little pathways. You don't know the other stores because I took you instead of letting you walk. The walk would have
Mm-hmm.
showed you all the things you needed along the way. So by the time you got there, you'd be ready for what you had to do there, whether it's attending school, whether it was, because you want to live there, maybe get a job. We
Right.
try to make things easy for people. But it's the learning, it's the walk that prepares
Mm-hmm.
people. So I realize many times that people look at failures or setbacks in a negative way, but that's because they're not understanding all the lessons that come with it. But again, half
Yep.
century. I've come through a whole lot of successes and failures. At half century, things look a little bit different. In your 20s,
Mm-hmm.
those things are like, oh, I can't believe. And you want to be like, baby, it's all right. You got a lot more years. Don't worry about that. Dust it off, start again. But I
Mm-hmm.
understand. Again, half century gives me wisdom. I look back. Looking back is always easier than looking forward.
Where can listeners book your services?
So my website is www.candspg.com. So it's for Counseling and Shifting Perspectives Group. So
Okay.
candspg.com, my website. And you can see on there what my services are. You can see how to book
Mm-hmm.
me. But also you can just email me directly at Yvonne@candspg.com. And I always respond to my emails. I'm happy to, if anybody's like, well, I don't want to navigate your website. I just want to talk to you. I want to set up a
Right.
schedule. I'm okay with that because if you go to book, it'll take you to my Theranest booking site and you can do it. But for
Mm-hmm.
people who are like, I'm not trying to go through all that. I'm just going to email you and I want to make this simple. That's fine
Right.
too. And my business phone number
Okay.
is 877-227-7034. You can call and leave a message. I'll get back to you. But the email is probably the quickest way, or the website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Either's fine.
All right. Okay, that's good. Because I
Yeah,
know people are gonna be ready to book with you after they listen to this. So be ready.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yes. And do you have like any upcoming events or programs that you're going to be attending or having?
I do not at this time. But again, I'm planning a lot of things. So for your listeners,
Okay.
I want them to know that is exactly why I am going to be working with Miss Annika because I need some assistance in those things and learning how to do. But I am planning, but not at this time. But when it'll be on
Okay.
the website, when it does come, it'll be up, it'll be available, or on Psychology Today because I'm listed there as well. So when I do maybe plan an event, it'll be there. but I'm not sure what yet.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. Let's
Yeah,
go.
we
You're
do. We
welcome.
do. I
Yes.
was thinking about having like a women's group, just where women can
Mhm.
come together. There's power in unity. There's power in knowing I'm
Yes.
not the only one, kind of going through. So I was
Right.
thinking about putting like a group together and have people come together and talk. I'm just not sure of what's needed. So maybe I'll put a survey out there one day. We'll see.
Yep, we'll see. And I want to completely thank you so much for coming on Navigate and I podcast today.
I am so thankful to be here. You have no idea. I've been so excited. As I said, having never podcast before, I'm so excited.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this is the time, but I would love to know how you came up with Never Gave Denied. It's an interesting name.
Wow. Yes. So
Yes.
what I did was, okay, this is what happened. So I created a video maybe, like a few months ago. It had to be like in 2023, of course. And I was like very in a mindset that I was like, goodness, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm delayed. I feel like other people are, living the life I want to live. And I feel like everything was delayed for me. But then I realized that even though life was delayed, it never gave denied. So when I went to upload that video on TikTok and Facebook, I believe, and Instagram, a person commented because she saw the video and she said, yes, never gave denied. And I said, interesting. That because I didn't realize I said never gave denied because people say life was delayed but it never gives denied or whatever, that little quote.
Right.
And I said never gave denied, and people love the fact that I said never gave denied. So that's how it came here. And I'm like, yeah. So that's my quote that I live by. Yes, life was delayed but it never gave denied. And
I
that's
love
it.
that.
Yes.
That
And
is
that's the reason.
powerful.
Right. And that's the
Yes,
reason why I
snap that
bring you on
fuse.
here.
I love that. Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Yep. And that's why I create this podcast, because there's people out here who felt the same way I felt. Like life was delayed and everything was like not working out for them. And people who have been seen or heard. So that's the reason why this podcast exists. Like small businesses like yourself and local
Mhm.
talent who have gone through setbacks, who have gone through failures, but
Yeah.
they were never denied. They're here. They're creating their
Mhm.
businesses, creating the content. And yep, that's why this podcast exists.
All of that. I love it. I'm so glad you're
Yes.
given a platform. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I truly am thankful for it, but especially just for your personality. You are a wower. I think I can fairly say that about you. To know you is to be just amazed. It is your smile. It is your personality. You are larger than life in the most humble being. I find that so
Yes.
powerful, the dichotomy of you. One side of you is like, this is a movie star, this woman. And the other side is you're just this gentle
Yeah.
young woman. And just, you have an amazing combination and all of that, just you. I find you quite impressive. Thank you for this.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for coming on Never Gave Denied. And remember, yes, life was delayed, but it never gave denied. I'm your host, Annika Laquette, and you're listening to Never Gave Denied podcast. Bye.